And we are back. Thanks so much for joining the Ticats CFL Draft Show, powered by TELUS. Traditional host Louie B here, and we are just finishing up the draft. We have two more picks, the 53rd and 54th overall. The Ticats will finish the draft with the 54th overall pick. Draft was shortened this year. A couple of changes to the draft: the snake draft, the random picks, as well, the random order that was determined ahead of time. But it's also a bit shorter here with just 6 rounds. And the Ticats will finish up with the 54th overall pick. We'll be joined by Drew Elliman coming up in just a little bit. Brandon Revenberg is going to stop by as well. But right now, from the CFL on TSN, very pleased, very, very, very pleased to be joined by my friend Glen Suitor. Suits, it has been years since you and I have had the pleasure of getting to chat. So thank you for doing this. Thank you. We'll start there. How are you doing?
Louie, is it you?
It is me.
You can hear me now? Okay, I got you now. Hey, it is great to catch up with you again. I'm looking forward to this. It was fun to watch the guys, watch Dwayne and the boys, talk about football and just talk about players, what their strengths are, the teams and what they may be looking for. And isn't that a sort of it's been a long time coming, I guess, and great to see that because we've gone through a lot of bad news, a lot of uncertainty, and it feels more and more like we're getting closer.
And I saw you got your shot last week, and I know we're trying to encourage everyone when it's your turn to get your shot and to keep practicing social distancing and being safe. But like you said, it feels like we're turning a corner here. There's optimism. Lots to be excited about heading into 2021, and lots to be excited about with this Ticats team because when the Ticats made their pick, you texted me right away, said you love it. You love their first pick. What do you love about Jake Burt?
Well, first of all, you're right about the vaccine, and I've been trying to I just want to touch on that point real quick, but I wanted to make the point too, because I've been saying if you go out and get the vaccine, you're being a great teammate. And I've learned a lot of my life lessons from this game of football. And sometimes there are moments when you have to go outside of your comfort zone. Sometimes you have to do things that put you sort of in those get your nose dirty type of jobs and jobs that don't necessarily get you in the newspaper, but are super important to the success of the greater good. And that's what I kind of look at this whole vaccination deal is. I get people's personal opinions and some of their concerns and things like that, but you can be a great teammate because it's bigger than you personally. You can be a great teammate if you get vaccinated for everyone around you. If that's the only reason, that's good. You're helping other people around you and you're keeping them out of the hospital and maybe even saving lives. So I wanted to get to that. But hey, I love Jake Burt. When I look at the draft, and the CFL draft is always so challenging because there's so many variables that have to be considered by the teams when they're taking a look. Are you looking at a future guy? Or are you looking at a guy you probably get in camp right away? What are the chances of one of these players going to the NFL? And so there's all kinds of different variables that other drafts don't have to deal with. And you look at the players, obviously tremendous talent. Your talent gets you on the list. And then I think one of the main assets you have when you're trying to do a risk assessment as a general manager or a coach, looking at who are we going to pick? Who are we going to pick first overall? And I think a big part of that should be his motivation. What type of family is he from? How excited is he to get to Canada and play in the Canadian Football League? How much pride does he have in it? How much patriotism is running through his veins? Because to me, that can be the difference when you get to the CFL between being a starter and a star and being a guy who's not quite there mentally. Even though his talent is off the charts, we see guys that maybe they're thinking about other leagues, or maybe they're not quite fully in, or in a lot of different scenarios. So I think that's sort of a trait that you have to really take a good hard look at. It's the interview with the players. It's learning about their family. And then when you see it, and you get a chance to talk. And I saw your interview with Jake, and I saw it online, and his family's so excited, and him saying, I can't wait to get there and be part of the Canadian Football League and show such great pride in it. That's why I think this is an outstanding pick, not to mention his talent. They all have great talent. So we could be breaking that down at every turn with every one of these players. But this guy has this great enthusiasm, great pride for Canada. All his family is in Canada. And he's going to come back and can't wait to get to camp and contribute to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That's why I love this pick. I immediately followed him on Twitter because I have a feeling, Louie, that we're going to just be inspired on a daily basis by this kid. He sounds like he's one of those guys, those high energy guys. Seems like he's multi-talented, could do a lot of things on the field. But beyond that, this guy is really excited about his opportunity in the CFL. And to me, that matters. That's big.
Suits, I'm curious as to what you think about the kind of the tight end position, because it's not something we see a lot in the CFL. Kalinic, in 2019, another Ticats guy, kind of helped revolutionize. Might not be the right word, but tight end isn't a position we normally see in the CFL. What do you get the sense of now that we've seen Ticats, 2 of the last 3 years select somebody with that kind of background, and how you feel like that reflects the kind of league that we're in right now?
Well, I don't know that it sort of has anything to do with, talks with other leagues and these conversations. No,
not just like that, but just where this game, our game here, the CFL. Yeah. Just the way it is played, regardless of what other people do, but just the way the Ticats have kind of adjusted to the way offenses are run.
Well, hey, listen, I love this pick for a lot of reasons. First of all, he sounds like a guy that can get open no matter where you line him up. So if you want to put him out wide, he can still do that and separate. He can still route run. It sounds like he understands defenses and can find those holes and zones and things like that. So he's got the skill set to play a lot of different positions, physical. He mentioned in 3 interviews I've seen already with Jake Burt, he said that he enjoys the blocking. He enjoys big on big, where he can come to the line of scrimmage and take on a defensive end. I mean, you've got to have that mentality to go out and get your nose dirty and that kind of stuff and enjoy it, to be good at it. And it sounds like he can be. And if I go back and, I'm going to date myself a little bit here, but when I was a kid growing up and I was a BC Lions fan, a fan of the CFL, I was living up in Prince George as a really young kid in northern BC. And I'd come down with my father for one game every single year to go to Old Empire Stadium in the Nally chip seats. The kids would sit back there and run on the field. Well, back then they would play with 2 tight ends at times. And one of them was Ricky Ellis and one of them was Harry Holt. Those 2 guys could run, but they were big bodies. Now I fast forward about 25 years, and I played with a guy in Ray Elgard who was a big body, get open slot back, and, perennial 1,000-yard receiver, perennial all-star in the Canadian Football League. So, I think these big body guys can be so, crucial to the versatility of your offense. You can move them around, bring them in at that true tight end position and make it look like you're going to block or play in the running game. They leave in a bigger linebacker to defend the running game. And now you widen him out and he becomes a slot and moves towards the line of scrimmage. Remember, that's one of the great parts about our game. And I'm speaking to the choir here, but you got unlimited motion towards the line of scrimmage with all receivers. And when you have that kind of rule in your playbook, you can run a 4-5 or a 4-4. And I don't even know what Jake's time is, but you can run 4-5, 4-6, get that running start. I don't think Ray Elgard ever ran more than a 4-7, to be honest with you. And he had 1,000-yard seasons one after another and would just swat little DBs away. So I like the pick, man. And the other thing is, and this is one thing I like about the NFL. One of the things I love about the National Football League is the tight end position. I think it's extraordinary athlete. See a big physical guy that can run routes and get open. And it sounds like this guy is that.
And that's kind of the scary thing about with this Ticats team is you're talking about, Speedy B is the MOP, he's the reigning MOP. Braylon Addison, is coming back. Jalen Ackland, Rookie of the Year for the Ticats the team's Rookie of the Year in 2019. Yep. Who do you guard? Who do you defend? Like who do you put your best kind of player in the secondary? Because really pick your poison, and especially when you got Dane Evans and Jeremiah Masoli throwing the football, and they could throw it 20 yards past you. And like you say, if we can get this guy at 4-4 getting down the field, good luck, right? Good luck for defenses trying to defend this Ticats offense.
Yeah, a big body, and you can move those chess pieces around in a real tough way to defend, because if you're playing double tights, for instance, where you've got an extra lineman on one side and Jake Bird on the other, and I'm not putting him in the starting lineup in day one. I'm gonna let him work his way into that, and I'm sure he'll do the work to get there. It sounds like he's that kind of guy, but when you have that versatility and you can move around, move those weapons all over the place, it's so difficult to defend, because you're right. If you're going to roll coverage to Speedy B, boy, you're leaving one-on-ones and sort of your weakness on defense to some really talented players on the backside. So, there's all kinds of moves that offensive and defensive coordinators are going to try and make. But let's also mention where you finished off there with the quarterbacks and Jeremiah Masoli and Dane Evans, because if you look across the league and you think that most of the time in the CFL, you see two quarterbacks play. I mean, usually, and that doesn't even necessarily just mean if one gets nicked during the season. It can also mean that sometimes you need to win with two. With Coach O as their coach, that both those guys are going to completely buy in, and that's important, because you've got two starters in Hamilton, two number ones, so you have to get that working relationship right. And you have to have the right mentality at coach to do that. And I think obviously Hamilton does have that. So with Coach O there, having them both buy in, both contributing and bringing their skill set, boy, it's going to be tough to defend, because defensive ends have got to stay wide on Masoli, and then they bring in Dane Evans, and you got, different styles in some ways, different approaches, different attacks. It's going to be tough to defend. And it's, it makes Hamilton, and I've been saying this for a while in the offseason, it makes Hamilton a big-time favorite just at the quarterback position alone.
Yeah, I'm envious of the plays that Tommy Condell can draw up as offensive coordinator. I am not envious of the defensive coordinators that the Ticats will have to play against. Suits, you and I could for sure talk all night football, but we got a couple more guests here to wrap up the night. So thank you for doing this. It's great to hear your voice. Can't wait to see you at Tim Hortons Field.
Louie B, can't wait, man. Anytime you need anything, I'm right here. Give me a call. I'm in the football bunker in North Vancouver. Get vaccinated, folks.
Good advice. We'll leave it there. We're also going to take a quick break. Brandon Reverberg joins the show next. It's the Ticats CFL Draft Show presented by TELUS.